Field X39 training call. And we're really, really excited, not just because Steve and Gina here, but I see them, they're here, which is so fun, but also because we're going to have the founder, the inventor, the amazing David Schmidt is going to be on with us today live. So we're going to have a really, really fun call. We have a ton of announcements. This team is rocketing and we're having so much fun together, building business, changing lives, one person at a time, using this amazing stem cell activation patch. So I'm really excited that you're here. If your people have any problem getting on the Zoom call, remember that the passcode is 39. And if for any reason they can't get on the Zoom, no problem. Just go to the Onyx Cole Network Marketing YouTube channel, and it's also there live. So they can click the live link. I've been texting all of my friends and contacts, whether they're brand new in the business or there's somebody that I prospected in this last week with my 331 system, to tell them, hey, David Schmidt's going to be on and Steve and Gina's going to be on, and you want to jump on and join with us. And so a lot of them have sent me note back, hey, I'm jumping on right now. So thank you so much for reminding me. So I encourage you, text your friends, text the people that you've been prospecting. You never know who's going to join, and it's going to be a great, great hour. So let me throw it over to Steve and Gina. Nice to see you too.
Yes, happy Saturday afternoon, wherever you are. We're in Florida. So thank you, Onyx. I'm telling you what, yes, QFT is rocking it. And thank you to you, because you created that most incredible, amazing system that we are just following. I mean, it is simple. It's so easy, user-friendly, and everyone's rocking it. We're super fired up, and we're so grateful for LifeWave and David Schmidt, and excited for today. And like she said, text one more. Come on.
Guys, we're so excited to have you on here. Make sure, like Onyx said, text a friend. All you really need to win big with us and David Schmidt, LifeWave, Onyx, is a good person on the right and a good person on the left that has a dream. And you don't know what anybody's thinking. And that one text could be that couple, that single person that is looking and open-minded to reactivate their own stem cells and run for their dreams. Remember, we have been running for the last few weeks now on a 90-day run to senior director.
Yes.
And that is our focus, is to break 100 senior directors, new ones, not the other ones that we broke. But brand new senior directors from the Quantum Field team, the #1 fastest growing team in LifeWave. Our goal is to break them senior directors, and there's a whole team of leaders that have already done it, that have been sharing with all the events that we've been having, the opportunity meetings and the Saturday trainings. So you're seeing that all different personalities, all different careers, all different people, all different walks of life are winning and succeeding on the Quantum Field team, because we want everybody. We want to bring everyone into this momentum, and the momentum, which is everything in sports and in business, is what is going to carry the people that maybe have never seen success. They're calling us in tears, saying we've never had success before in this industry, but we're winning on the Quantum Field team.
That's right.
That is exciting. So your first goal, if you haven't gone manager, is to get that done. Go manager in the next 30 days. But you know what? People are doing it in 2 weeks, 1 week, even a day.
Yeah.
So you can get caught up if you haven't gone manager yet. Just 2 people right, 2 people left. They got to be a silver above. They got to be on 1 sleeve auto ship at least. You've got to be a gold on 2 sleeve auto ship. So get yourself moving toward manager. And you know what? Today, after the friends that you got on here, they're going to want to get in. You're probably going to hit manager just today by having your guests on here.
That's right.
Then your goal then is in the next 60 days to be a director. All a director is, if you saw a manager, oh, Steve, that's not very hard. 2 right, 2 left. Of course, now you just have to have 2 people basically go manager, 1 on the right, 1 on the left. And they just got to put 2 right, 2 left to be a manager. You do have to add 1 more personal, but it's not a big deal. The momentum starts building as you go. So every single rank is a little bit higher of more people to put in, but because of the people you've been speaking with last week, the next week, the momentum carries, because they start thinking about what you said, or they start really wanting to get engaged. So that's a director. Then your goal is to be a senior director. Why do you want to be a senior director? Number 1, you want to meet David Schmidt in person. If you've done it the last 12 months, all those of you that have gone senior director in the last 12 months, have held it for 2 weeks up till now. But from now until the date of him coming to our house for a dinner party, private dinner party for senior directors, you have to only do it 1 week. So you just got to hit it between now and then if you haven't done it. And you can do this.
You got
with
it.
the team of people that are on here. Keep it very simple. The information that you're going to learn today, implement it. Just take and implement what you're going to be taught today and start moving forward toward helping people have better health. And this X39, I mean, Gene and I at Onyx have cried more since we've gotten together, reconnected the last 8 months over all of our friends' testimonies, because it's just escalated. The momentum that's happened before we came in with David and Gina, with David and Onyx, and then with Gina and I coming in, it's just incredible what's happening.
You probably said David because everyone thinks that you look like him.
Yeah, I was at the convention and I'm in the elevator. I never told him this yet, but people kept saying, David, I really loved your speech. And I said, wait till this afternoon when you hear the next one. So we've been having fun with people. And again, how do you get this done in a fast way so that you don't have to push your goals on your friends?
That's right.
Because of the X39 and the communication. I just had some incredible new friends over here today for a cup of coffee this morning, and we were talking, and it's such an easy conversation to talk about your health and helping people reactivate their own stem cells by raising up their copper peptides. It's a very simple conversation. Gina and Onyx are very people-oriented. They love to start a conversation with people. I'm a competitor. That's not really my gift, but I will say that this is the easiest conversation I've ever had in my life.
Three of us make a good team.
Yeah. So set a goal to put 20 personals to the right and 20 to the left. You might think, oh my gosh, and years ago when I ever did this in a network, I thought this was very difficult, but not with X39. It is so simple and so doable to make it happen because people are open and they're very much more proactive about their health than ever before. And they're open to a side hustle. They're open to a home-based business more than ever before. Because why? The cost of living, their raises are not being kept up with the cost of the vehicles they drive. They're saying, I've got to do something. Then you come along and share with them this incredible technology, and then they want to get started. So set a goal to get 20 right, 20 left by following our system, which is talk to 3 people every day, follow up with 3 people every day, and put somebody on a Zoom or in front of this opportunity. That's simple. And then set a goal to put 3 people in by the end of the week. If you don't hit the goal, no problem. You got a monthly goal because sometimes the people you talk to the first week get in the second week. So no big deal. You just got to have a goal. If you've got a goal set, you got something to shoot for. And a lot of times you hit it before the goal is set. Even if you hit it after, you've got a goal set. So we're excited to be, this is our strategy and it is working. Onyx and Gina and myself have seen rank advancements like we've never seen ever in our industry. I mean, we're having a blast and it's so much fun when your friends are winning. By the way, that's one of the key components Gene and I prayed for was a vehicle, a product, a company, an owner that our friends can win with. That is exactly what we're seeing and why we're so excited about everything that's happening. Remember, we have got incredible ways for you to plug your people in to put the team here of leadership on the Quantum Field team to work for you on Monday nights at 8 o'clock, Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, and Fridays at noon. Gina just ripped it up on Friday, by the way. If you haven't seen that, use that as a vehicle for new people because she shared the plan in like 30 minutes and it was incredible. It caught everybody's attention and her personality and everything that she shared will help your friends see the big picture. Thursdays are at 8 o'clock. And that's all Eastern time. That is Spanish.
8 o'clock Spanish on Thursdays.
Spanish is on Thursday. So, you know, this is incredible. We're getting huge numbers of people on the Spanish call. Mike and Cy are doing an incredible job and all the others that are sharing on the Spanish call. And we need you. If you speak Spanish, let's get you up through the rank, get the senior director so we can have you talking on the Spanish Zoom call. And then every Saturday, like today, we do an hour training. You know what I love about this is that when Onyx told Gene and I that she helped this company go from 20 million to 280 million in the last 3 years, basically in the last 2, because it takes at least a year to start creating the momentum. And 80% of all its sales is the X39. And maybe David can clarify if it's a number off, but it's close to that. And then that last thing is that she said that she did it with no meetings. I was blown away. What do you mean no meetings? Just Zoom meetings. Any one of you can log into some Zoom meetings. You wear your pajama bottoms Maybe David's got his pajama bottoms on right now and a nice shirt on top. I mean, you don't have, it's not something that you can't do. You don't have to drive across town. You don't have to get babysitters. We have built this kind of momentum basically with a Wednesday night. I don't know why we picked Wednesday night, but we started mid-July doing a Wednesday night 8 o'clock call and a Saturday 1 o'clock call. And the momentum got so crazy that starting in January 7th, actually, we announced a Monday and a Friday added on to that, those Zoom calls, and a Thursday Spanish. So we're having a blast, but it's so simple to put your people on. And we're not letting anyone be left behind. We're not just like sign up. We're like, hey, engage with us. We'll help you, take you to the finish line, like Gina says. We want everyone to win.
And I just love it because every Zoom is recorded. So you go into Onyx Cole Network Marketing YouTube and you search for the personality that you relate to. And that's what you're going to share with your people till you learn how to do the presentation, which is on the Build 331. So our goal is to help you win, and we're going to do what it takes to help you win.
You know what my most favorite thing is? I'm watching people who have never had a success in network marketing rocket through the ranks because they're using the 331 system. And that to me is the most amazing thing. I mean, it's beautiful having all these testimonials, but we're walking into a recession. I think it's a global recession that we're going to be experiencing. So it's so neat that David Schmidt has provided us, all of us, with this amazing opportunity, not only to have better health, but also to have better wealth so that your families don't have to experience a recession. Steve, Gene, and I have done this before. The last time the United States went into recession, we took a company to $1 billion in sales in 3.5 years. We know what we're doing. We've done it together. We've got the work ethic. Join hands with us, lock arms. Doesn't matter whether you've had experience in this industry or not. This system works. This product works. This company is amazing. Wait till you meet David Schmidt. And we should stop talking, right? Because David's on the phone. So David, are you there?
Hey, Onyx.
Hi,
Hey,
David.
Steve. Hey, Gina. Great to see all of you.
Good to see you, David.
Yeah.
Well, we are so excited to have you here. I want to remind everybody that if your people have any problem getting on the Zoom, remember to use the passcode 39, or you can send them to the Onyx Cole Network Marketing, and it's up as a YouTube live so that your people are able to get on. All right. So David, are you okay if we get started?
I'm okay, but I think first I just want to take the opportunity to thank you all for having me here on a Saturday and inviting me in. And also I want to congratulate all of you on an amazing February. You and your team helped take the company to over $1 million a day in sales, making February the biggest month in the history of the company. So I want to take this opportunity and thank the three of you for the incredible leadership that you're showing. And it's no surprise the United States is the fastest growing market in the world for LifeWave. So many, many thanks and congratulations to all three of you.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. We love it. I love that that American market is exploding. And as much as exploding, there's still so much opportunity for everybody because we're really just getting started, even in the United States.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just scratching the surface.
I know. And this amazing product is just, wow. It's wait till you guys hear everything David's got to say. So, okay. I thought because there's so many new people that have joined this organization, we're growing by leaps and bounds, literally every single day. So I thought maybe I would ask you a question to give us a few highlights about your career.
Few highlights. Well, let's see. There'd be, I suppose, a lot of things to touch on. First thing, I'd say for me, the most important thing is that I have two amazing kids, and becoming a dad was definitely something that I wanted to be in my life. So I'm very happy that that was something that I achieved. And so I'm really proud of that, about being a dad. In terms of business success, there's been a number of things, along the way. When I was younger, I had, any number of interesting experiences and research, and there were few things that I wanted to get involved in. And going into government contractors and getting invited into Black Project to design equipment for the Navy's next generation mini sub, which is what led to LifeWave, was really a dream come true. It was an incredible experience. I am very happy to be out of that world, especially now. but it gave birth to LifeWave. And so that was really an incredible journey and an incredible opportunity. And of course, putting 10 years and almost $4.5 million into research dedicated to coming up with a stem cell product, which led to X39. That's been unbelievably rewarding, because the journey that was the journey was just as rewarding, I suppose, as where we are today. When you're an inventor and you develop things, maybe one out of every 20 or 30 products that you develop are going to turn into something that you actually sell. The reason to create things and run experiments is that it's all about learning. You try to uncover some of the secrets embedded in nature and then say, okay, well, do I stop here or do I keep going? And that was very much, the evolution with X39. We kept uncovering new and better ways of doing things with stem cells, with X39, being at the pinnacle. And of course, at the end of the day, when you have a product that changes people's lives in such a dramatic way, that's incredibly rewarding.
Yes, it is. It certainly is.
I'm really intrigued by everyone as you're listening to what David is saying. Hey, David, how you doing? Great to see you.
Steve, it's great to see you and spend time with you. And I'm this could be a deep fake, in the future. You could take over for me. I could take a vacation, which you could take
I couldn't
over.
tell you how many people in August,
I love it.
They kind of shuffled you out kind of quick in August, so I didn't get to talk to you as much as I'd like to, but they kept telling me in the elevators and everywhere walking, David, come here,
It was crazy.
So it was funny, and I was having fun with the people, getting pictures with them. They probably I got my picture with David. So
that's great. I love it.
So anyways, I love what you said there, and I want people to listen because, he's talking about 10 years of research, $4.5 million investment, and had the stamina to keep going. He didn't give up, or he talked about other inventions that he was working on that might not. He used that as a learning curve, and you could use that as a learning curve for you when you're talking to somebody. Maybe they didn't see the opportunity or the product right away, but if you keep at it, you're going to find the right people. I mean, there's too much happening right now with LifeWave, with the X39, that you're not going to have. David's already paved the way, as well as the leaders before you talking about it. But the fact that you have that stamina and that intuition to keep going, I love that message for all the people on here, because it doesn't have to only pertain to an invention. It could be a business,
Yeah, absolutely. The four of us have all been in that place. When I started LifeWave, I took over my son's bedroom. He was 4 years old at the time, and I turned that into my first home office for LifeWave. I had my research lab out of my garage, and that's where I was doing some of my work. I had another lab up in the mountains near Dahlonega, Georgia. For people know where that is, it's actually the site of the gold rush in the United States, interestingly enough. But it's an incredibly important message for entrepreneurs. LifeWave, it took 2 years to get off the ground. And so that meant I had to do clinical research to prove that the prototypes were working. They were doing what we said, had to figure out how to manufacture them in large volume. And then, of course, had to figure out how we're going to market these things. So that was a 2-year process. And before we ever reached the level of success that we have today, we launched the company in 2004, and we took off with our stem cell product in 2018. So, about 14 years of persistence and patience. We did fine, all those years, but nothing like what we're seeing today. So it's a great lesson for entrepreneurs.
And what do you think was your inspiration to start LifeWave? What were you thinking when you were getting started?
Yeah, there's a number of things, like yourselves. I'm a person of faith, and I pray over everything that I do. And usually what I found over the years is that when you pray, God's going to open up doors. And when you're doing something, we see this in our research lab, when we work on something and there's a lot of obstacles, I get the sense, oh, this is not the direction I'm supposed to go in. Something's wrong here. And then you pray over it, and you try another approach. And then all of a sudden, it's like all of those obstacles, fall down. and that's the way that you're supposed to go. And what had happened was I had developed an engine for emergency systems for submarines. And this was a turbine engine, but unlike most turbines, it didn't have any blades inside of it. It worked on a vortex phenomena. And I was driving around. I was driving from Dahlonega back to Beaufort, Georgia, where I was living at the time. And I was driving around this beautiful lake. And the thought came into my mind that there must be a vortex structure inside the cell. And as I began to think about this, I realized what it was. And so then it meant that you could have a device that would communicate to the cells through this vortex channel. I just explain it simply. There's a lot more to it, but it basically meant that. And so I took about 3 years then to try to figure out how to tap into this phenomena, which led to the patches. And they worked the very first time. And I knew I really was onto something.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Beaufort, Georgia.
Yeah.
That's where we used to live.
Yeah, we probably.
Oh, you're kidding.
Each other. We used to live there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. How funny.
We ran our training center, my water ski training center, right there on Lake Lanier.
In 1996
Okay.
and started running Steve's Training Center in Beaufort, Georgia,
And
right?
it's changed a lot. It's changed a lot.
Yeah, the very first time I came up with the idea for LifeWave, that's where I was. I was driving around Lake
Wow.
Lanier, driving from Dahlonega back to Beaufort.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So, wow, small world.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Why did you decide to sell your patches as a network marketing company?
You know, that's interesting. When I was in college, there were only, out of a large group of friends, there were only 2 of us that wanted to be entrepreneurs. And so I went to school in New York, and all of our friends wanted, to work for IBM, work for big accounting companies. Like, no, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to have my own business. So my friend and I, we would go to different types of opportunity meetings looking to see, well, how can we be an entrepreneur? And we ended up going to meetings for a number of networking companies. And I was the person in the audience asking the technical questions about, how does the water filter work and all those kind of things. And I could never get an answer, so never joined one. But and like a lot of people, I had not a good experience with the network marketing industry because of some of the players that I met. But when I started LifeWave and was doing an evaluation of how to market this, I was thinking about radio and TV. I approached GNC, who wanted to market the product, looked at infomercials and talked to companies about doing that. We did some testing. And I had an experience where a fellow that was a business friend introduced me to somebody. We had a business lunch, and then he ran into somebody in a movie theater who was interested in investing in LifeWave. I met with that guy, and then he introduced me to a medical doctor who introduced me to another medical doctor who was friends with Coach Richard Quick at Stanford University. So in about a 3-week period of time, I went from sitting at a lunch in Beaufort to being out at Stanford University, putting patches on Olympic swimmers with Richard Quick, a 6-time US Olympic coach. And when I really thought about that, I said, this would never have happened with the product sitting on the shelf at GNC. Would never happen.
Okay.
This is all networking. I need to go back and reevaluate this. And so in July of 2004, I flew out to California. I was invited there by Coach Quick to see the Olympic trials. And when I landed, he said, well, we have an issue. The Olympic Committee thinks that there's drugs in these patches, and they want you to, explain what the technology is. So I met with this fellow, Dr. Scott Rodeo, explained what the patches were. They took them down to UCLA Microanalytical Lab, validated, there were only natural materials in the patches, and we were vindicated. But over 1,000 people contacted me wanting to buy the product and be a distributor for this new technology. And I was like, okay, the alarm bells went off. Clearly, what God is telling me, this is supposed to be a network marketing company. And 3 months later, on November 10th of 2004, we started sales. We did $500,000 in business our very first month, and
Wow.
17 million in sales for 2005. So it was a very, very clear sign. This was where our home was supposed to be.
Wow.
That's cool. And it's funny because Steve, Jean, and I often talk about you don't know who your friends know. Like I was introduced to this patch from a girlfriend of mine named Kathy, and Kathy was introduced to this patch from a chimney sweep. But, you know, the chimney sweep had no idea that Kathy was good friends with Onyx Cole. And so that's true for all of us. When you all are introducing the X39 to people, you don't know who your friends know. So it's incredible. Just like Steve said at the beginning, sometimes it just takes one person on your left and one person on your right, and boom, you have a massive business going. So that's so cool that what's happening, you know, basically in the creation of the business is also happening for all of us in the sales creation of the business. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So I love what Steve often says, you know, when we do these meetings live or on Zoom, he's like, you know, David has this many patents. How many of you know somebody with 2 patents?
Yeah.
It's so funny because, you know, maybe I know 1 or 2 people that have 2 patents, but I don't know anybody with the patents like you have, David. How many patents do you actually have?
Yeah, so it's somewhere north of 130. I stopped counting a while back, and I actually just yesterday I got a notice from my patent attorney that I got issued another patent. So it's somewhere in the 130s, I think. But I know it's over 132 because that was the last time I counted, and that was sometime last year. And for me, my benchmark is my uncle Paul. So
Right.
my uncle Paul Schmidt worked for Bell Labs for many years, and the transistor or transistor tech that you find in cell phones and computers were things that he invented many decades ago now. So I have some inventors that run in the family. My cousin is an inventor for the Department of Defense and does stuff that, you know, he won't tell me about. Yeah, so I come from a family of inventors, which is kind of nice. So we're a little bit competitive about it. But if I never got another patent, I'd be pretty happy. I've been incredibly blessed.
Wow, that's incredible. So just to remind everybody, you all, we're at 1,000 people on the Zoom. We're at over 200 people on the, I think it's at 240 on the YouTube Live. So if your people are having problems getting on, get them onto the YouTube Live, because it looks like the Zoom room is now full, which is a high quality problem because your businesses are about to grow. So I'm sorry, Steve, go ahead.
No, that's exciting. That's exciting. And, you know, listening to what he's saying when you're talking to somebody as well, you know, you're working with, now a friend. You're listening to him. Dave's a friend of yours now, talking to you on the Zoom that has got over 130 patents.
Yeah.
I mean, that gives you the credibility because you can use the credibility of the people you're working with, the ownership, and the inventor of the X39. So thanks for sharing, David, on that. Now, you mentioned this a little bit ago, but tell us so we really get it clear about how much money approximately did it take to bring the X39 to market, and how many years, and maybe your mindset behind that, so people can like think a little bit about, you know, if it's taken them a little bit of time to get somewhere in their business. Tell us a little bit about that process.
Yeah, so that's a fantastic question. So in the late 2000s, I was thinking about what would be coming next. So one of the things that's really important, and actually I'm going to be talking about this in Aruba, is what does the future look like for LifeWave? So we have a very exclusive group that'll be there, and I want to open up the door a little bit and talk about that. But I generally try to think about 5, 10, 20 years in advance of where technology is going, so we can anticipate what's the future going to look like and how are we going to be a part of it. So if technology is heading in a specific direction, then you have time to really plan and be part of some big trends. So the thing that was standing out to me was, at the time, we had Energy Enhancer, IceWave, Silent Nights, we had our YH products. And so we were in the business of anti-aging and lifestyle. But I wanted to take the company into a new generation and have that be regenerative science. And stem cells, it was very, very clear this was going to be the future. So looking back, from 2008, it was very clear that stem cell injections would be common, it would be widespread, and it would probably be very expensive and come with a degree of risk. So what can we do to make stem cell science and stem cell medicine affordable and make it safe? So at first, I thought that it was going to require some type of machine to do this.
Wow.
And I began the research by analyzing DNA and the electromagnetic field that exists around DNA. And eventually, we ended up with over 70 patents. My team, I invented all of these things, but I want to give credit to my team because we have a fantastic group of engineers where they take my ideas and then we create computer models around them. We develop prototyping. We have a full and very robust 3D manufacturing center in our lab. We have a full machine shop for prototyping, and I work with phenomenal people. So we started to develop this tech, and we did our research over at the National University of Ireland in Galway. And I had made a presentation to Dr. Tim O'Brien, who's a very well-known medical doctor in the field of stem cell research. And he approved a study that was funded by Scientific Foundation Ireland. And what we showed in our first study is that you don't have to inject stem cells into the body. You can use energy to activate the stem cells that are already there. And so we went through many, many iterations of the tech. Some of it produced, Star Trek-like results in terms of the speed of healing. But it ultimately culminated in X39, which is, to me, the simplest, most cost-effective, and safest stem cell technology on the planet today. Anybody can use it, anybody can afford it, and it produces results that rival stem cell injections.
Wow.
Well said.
So the next question, is there a meaning or a story behind the product name of X39?
So, we have a lot of fun with product names, and the 39 represents the 39th patch that I've invented. So not every patch makes it to market. It's really always a question of can we do something and trigger a specific pathway, learn from that, and then later on put it into a product. So X39 was the 39th product. And typically what we do, the Eon patch was X15. So we'll go through our pre-launch and we'll keep the product name a secret. We'll keep what it does a secret. And then we release the official name at the product launch. But in this case, with X39, because the benefits were so incredible, we decided to begin the pre-launch 6 months before the product release. And to build the business, we were offering free sleeves of X39. And what you had to do was basically enroll people, and the brand partner and the new brand partner coming in would each get a free sleeve. And at this point, we were also trying to figure out, what is the price point going to be? We had leaders saying, well, you should really charge $300 or $400 a month for this because that's what it's worth. And when we got a few months into this, the company was growing and we were attracting new leaders. And it was very obvious this was going to be a huge hit. Our leaders then said in late 2018 said, please don't change the name. We have momentum with the name X39. If we change it to something else, then we think it's going to be a mistake. And I absolutely agreed with our leadership. And so instead of going with a different product name, we kept X39, and the rest is history.
And I love that you bring the leadership in and get them involved to see their thoughts and their opinions on everything you guys are doing corporate wise. That's really important for us as leaders. Thank you.
Yeah, this is the way I look at this. Is I was talking to somebody else about this actually. Because we're growing, we're doing different interviews for positions in the company. And the way that I expressed it was that the corporate team has a fiduciary responsibility to the brand partners, meaning that we're in a position where we have to properly support what the brand partners are doing because they depend on us. So that means we better be running our research, our manufacturing, our customer service, our regulatory, our infrastructure, all to the standards that meet all the legal requirements and then all the requirements necessary to be successful. And, in return, it becomes a cooperative relationship. So in this case with X39, the two really important decisions was we kept the name because of our leadership. And the second thing was the pricing strategy. One of our leaders said, if you really want LifeWave to be big, then let's make it available to everyone. We agree it's worth $300 or $400 a month, but let's charge $100. We're not going to make as much, but we're going to help a massive number of people. And that really resonated with me because my mission in life is to help and heal as many people as possible. I thought, this can't be about the money, right? And I agreed with it, and it was a fantastic decision.
Yes,
Well, watch out, because I think we're going to help you make the money. I know.
Yeah, it seems that way.
We're just getting started, David.
Yeah, we're doing just fine.
So David, can you give us a brief description of how the X39 patch works?
Yeah, so the LifeWave technology works by stimulating the body with very low levels of light. So if we went back to the 1970s, a researcher in Germany by the name of Fritz Popp was the one that really discovered that there were light emissions off human body, off plants and animals, and these light emissions were highly coherent. They were as coherent as laser pulses. And so nothing ever happens by accident in biological systems. So if we're detecting light coming off the body, there must be a reason for it being there. And later research determined that these pulses of light are triggering thousands of different biochemical reactions within the cell at any one time. So our bodies, we are literally beings of light, and we're using light for communication. And because our body emits light, it means that our energy field, our light body, in not an esoteric sense or spiritual sense, in a very real physical sense, is interacting with the people around us. So, the way this technology is designed is to tap into that code, understand the code that we were created with, and how does our body use light to trigger these reactions and then use a technology to tap into it. So the patches contain organic materials that are processed in a very specific way so that when activated by body heat, they will stimulate the body with very low levels of light. This stimulation turns an enzyme on in the cell called cytochrome C oxidase. It's part of the electron transport chain. This increases the metabolism of the cell, and genes are expressed to turn on synthesis of specific peptides like copper peptide, GHKCU, in the case of X39. So the short answer is we stimulate the skin with light, and this causes an increase in a peptide that activates stem cells.
So cool. So Star Trek, isn't it?
Yeah.
So cool.
Very Star Trek. It's very
Star Trek. I love it.
That's great.
That's great for people to know this. We have got some people that are a little allergic, or they are allergic to rubber or latex. Can you tell us a little bit about the adhesive of the patch, and do they need to have it stuck on their body? Tell us a little bit about, how it would work with the adhesive and what it's made of.
Yeah. So in the early days, back in 2002, when I was looking at how to manufacture this, I worked with a medical device manufacturer so we could make this to the standards of a medical device because it was going on people, even though our product is not regulated that way, fortunately. So we looked at all medical grade films, medical grade adhesives, and we ended up using a medical grade adhesive from 3M that is a hypoallergenic adhesive. So it's the same type of adhesive used in Band-Aids. 1 out of 10,000 people are going to be allergic to this, so relatively small number. If someone is allergic to this type of adhesive, it's an acrylate adhesive, then they can apply the patch to the clothing on so it is in proximity to the skin. So, and we have found over the years that that works pretty well.
Okay, so someone doesn't have to wear it directly with the adhesive. They can wear it on the label of they could stick it to the label of their shirt, and that it'll work for them.
Yeah, so when we do our clinical studies, it's with the patches applied to the skin. However, empirically, what we found over the years doing pain relief demos is that you could apply the patch to clothing and still get an effect, because there is obviously infrared body heat that's going out several feet off the body. We even had a number of experiences. I would work with medical doctors and hospitals and clinics where you would take the patch and you'd start to approach the body, and maybe it would get 6 inches away and the person would feel a drop in pain. So we've actually seen those things happen too.
Fantastic.
Wow. So is there a need to wear more than one X39 patch in the day?
So when we do our studies, it is only with one X39. So what we have found is that one X39 is enough. Now, we haven't done studies with more than one patch, but I would say that with X39, one is plenty. There are some cases with patches like glutathione where you can get some pretty incredible effects. And if I mention what they were, they're not legally approved. But there are definitely some effects you get by using more than one glutathione patch, and it happens to be involved in treating things. With pain management, what we have found over the years is that with people with chronic pain for many, many years, using 2 sets of Ice Wave produces remarkable results. I was in Australia once working for a gentleman that was in late stage Parkinson's, and I had a set of Ice Wave on the bottom of his feet, and this is going back way before X39. A set of Ice Wave on the bottom of his feet, Ice Wave up on the shoulders, and a glutathione patch on the belly button. And he got complete pain relief, even though he was late stage Parkinson's. So there are some cases where more than one patch is beneficial, but with X39, it seems like one is just fine.
Fantastic.
So what systems in the body does the X39 rebalance, David?
So this is why I am so happy that you and your team are promoting X39, because it is unquestionably the right thing to do. We see that it is the most powerful product that we have, and people get the best benefits from this product. And it's because copper peptide, so there are 2 different types of copper peptide that we're interested in. One is GHK, the other is AHK. So we're elevating GHK with X39 and AHK with X49. And what makes GHK really special is that it is able to modulate gene expression. So here's a way to look at this. We would all like to stay young and healthy, and then even some of us would like to get younger, right? So that'd be my goal. I'd like to find ways to make people younger and keep people active. And so this involves the science of epigenetics. So as we age, there are genes that get turned on that we don't want turned on, and there are genes that get turned off that we don't want them to turn off. And using diagnostics today that are easily available, we can create maps of gene expression in the human body. And there are in human beings sirtuin genes, and I'll give you an idea of magnitude with this. The sirtuin genes are generally thought to have a very influential role in the way that we age, and things like olive oil and resveratrol are going to turn on one or two of those genes. Well, copper peptide turns on and rebalances thousands of genes, about 1/3 of the human genome.
Wow.
So when we're seeing people that physically look younger, after sometimes only 2 or 3 months of using X39, it's because copper peptide is affecting everything in the human body. It is resetting genes throughout the body to a more youthful state. It's turning on collagen production, which is the most abundant protein in the body. And that affects everything, not just in the skin, but it's collagen protein that makes up the cytoskeleton. It's what holds everything together in the human body. GHK is going to improve immune function, which affects overall health. We see a relationship between the health of the heart and cognition by levels of copper peptide. And of course, stem cells, which are activated in the body, affects everything. So you could say that X39 has a extremely broad effect on every single area of the body. So that's the reason to want to use it.
So we would see that effect potentially in the nervous system, in the hormone system, in the skeletal system, in the bones, in the muscles, in the brain, in the heart, in different organs.
So copper peptide will affect about 1/3 of the human genome. And the human body will have a tendency to prioritize things. So how the benefits are going to show up depends a lot on a person's age, their diet, whether or not they're exercising. Are they staying away from, smoking and drug use? Do they have generally a healthy lifestyle? People that have a healthy lifestyle are certainly going to get the most benefits out of the product. But that all said, the benefits can kind of show up anywhere, but in the body's own priority. So if someone had, let's say a back injury from an automobile accident, and that might get prioritized over something else.
Yeah, it's incredible how this product works anecdotally. What I've seen in 3.5 years anecdotally is nothing short of astounding. This X39 really is a gift from God.
I have to say, thank you. I have to say that our brand partners are pretty smart, because they learned to stop sending me the testimonials. I have to find out about them in other ways, because I was looking at a website that went through our compliance recently, and I saw the pictures. I'm like, why isn't anyone sending me these pictures? They're incredible. It's like, oh, okay, because we'll want to get them taken down. But we are seeing incredible, life-changing results with this product.
It's amazing.
Well, I'm fired up to know that the healthier you are, the better that the X39 patch works. So now he's got to be so fired up with me. Don't eat that. Exercise.
There you go.
That for 37 years, it's paying off now.
Yeah.
There you go. Fantastic.
She is finally in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I love what you're saying about how your body, whether it's activity-wise or looks-wise, is reversing and becoming at a younger state. I mean, that's the culture today. Not only is stem cell conversation such a huge conversation out there, but also, everybody wants to feel better, look younger, and act, have a lot better, more mobility, more quality of life. And that is incredible what you just told us. So think about it when you're using this as a business tool, when you're talking to people. Are you telling me you want to grow older, slower, grayer, or would you like to reverse that? And that kind of sets the pace. So that's what I mean earlier when I said you can plant the seed with somebody 1 week, and they start, you don't know what they're thinking. You kind of might have just shocked them because they didn't even know you were going to start talking about stem cells and becoming a younger state and making your muscles and your bones and your nervous system, like Onyx said, stronger and sharper. But all of a sudden,
you're shocked because you always tell everyone you negotiated your way out of high school.
Yeah.
So then when you start talking about stem cells, they say, wait a minute, did Steve Merritt go back to college or something?
Yeah, I love when I tell them that, Gina will tell everyone, hey, Steve negotiated way out of high school, and then at a meeting, the sharpest, most educated women love to come up and ask me, should I do this with my medications, this and that. I'm like, if they're that great and they didn't hear that, you know. Anyways, so we're having fun, but I'm liking to hear exactly what you're saying is just incredible, like Onyx said. And now I've had some questions about the crystals. Now, maybe we're saying it wrong, but we heard that you've got organic nano crystals are in the patch, in the X39. People are concerned, what are these crystals and how did they come to play? And how did you create the X39 using these crystals? And can you explain a little bit about that for us?
Yeah, so basically, this is a nanotechnology product, and all that means is that we're taking advantage of the properties of materials at the nanoscale. So very, very small particles of natural organic materials. So when you get down to the nanoscale, the optical and the electronic properties of materials change. And there's some really interesting things, of course, that are being done with this. And what I was interested in was the optical properties. So first, part of the job in research is figuring out what is the code that the human body is using in terms of light. So if we can measure the light emissions off the cells, then the next thing you have to say is, okay, well, what are these light emissions doing actually? How are they triggering different reactions? So the idea was, instead of using a cold laser or a lamp, could we use a passive device that's powered by your body heat, so it doesn't need any batteries, and will reflect the wavelengths of light that your body needs to turn on things like stem cells. And so in order to do this, I take natural materials, they're stereoisomers of amino acids and sugars, and they're processed in a very specific way so that crystals appear at the nanoscale. When these crystals, because they're so small, they can be activated by your body heat, and then they will start to reflect wavelengths of light that turn on stem cells, or in this case, increase copper peptide, which activates the stem cells.
Wow.
So everything that is in the patch is, in terms of the materials that we add, are organic and natural. And of course, we use recyclable plastic that is in the outside of the product.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Great.
So I'm excited to ask this question because in 27 days, you know, you're a little kid and you're like, oh, in 5 days, I'm going to be 8. In 6 days,
Right.
12. Okay. In 27 days, I'm going to be 61. So I am so glad I got this question. Because I do exactly what Onyx does. She taught us to promote and share the X39. We only wear the X39 patch. That's all I wear. And I'm curious to know how many stem cells are reactivating when I wear the X39. Do you have any information, documents on that?
Yeah. So what we have, let's see, it's over 10 clinical studies on X39. And what we need to do is comply with the category of general wellness with FDA. So we're not a class 1, 2, or 3 medical device. We're in the general wellness category. So that the benefit of that is it allows us to make claims like improving energy, improving sleep, managing pain, but it doesn't allow us to make any medical claims, and we're not allowed to say that we're treating a disease. So what we can say is that we are going to elevate or restore levels of copper peptide in the body, and one of the known benefits of copper peptide is that it activates stem cells. So when we do our blood and urine testing, we're looking for 2 things. The first thing is, does the patch elevate copper peptide? So we have multiple blood studies now that all prove that we do. Within 24 hours, levels of copper peptide are going up. So that's very empirical. We hit that with statistical significance. What we do with the urine tests is we look at metabolic activity in the body. So we want to know what are the effects of X39 and copper peptide. And those, of course, we also have documented. But in terms of stem cell mobilization, it can't be quantified it can be quantified from one individual to another, but it's not practical to do it for a large population with a general product. We would have to take a very, very narrow range of age, eliminate people that had different health conditions. You'd have to account for diet and lifestyle. All these things are going to impact the health and quality of the stem cells. So it's not a good representative marker. The best marker that we have is people will get about a 30 to 40% increase in copper peptide levels. And then we can look at in the literature, what does this mean in terms of stem cell activity? And it's extremely significant.
Well,
As an example, if people were healing 30 to 40% faster, there's not a pharmaceutical drug that can do that.
Wow.
Well, I can visually picture in my body, one stem cell goes boom into the other one. Boom, wake up.
Right.
Wake up. Got patch on again. Wake up, wake
Right.
up.
That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing.
I'm so fired up and I feel amazing with this X39 patch. I mean, completely. I mean, I had a lot of energy before and not really a lot of elements, but I've had amazing testimonies, even though I was a healthy person. And I'm telling, I cannot believe how I feel.
Yeah.
And the sleep and dreaming, I never dream. And I've been dreaming. I'm like just so fired up, man.
Wow.
It's just incredible.
beautiful.
Watch out, David.
Oh, watch
It's
out,
awesome.
Steve. Watch out, Steve. So, David, out of those 10 scientific studies you mentioned on X39, which one is your favorite?
It's always the first one.
Wow.
When you get the first study and it validates that your product works, that's pretty awesome. Everything after that, is building on it. And so the reason why we keep doing multiple studies is that you could have someone come in and say, well, maybe that study, they didn't repeat it and it was just an accident. Or that maybe they look at another study and they say, well, I don't like the way this study was structured. You can have the academics, they'll poke holes in things. But, all of a sudden, when you have 10, 20, or like in our case, over 80 clinical studies, they're not all accidents and they're published, right? So people can have the opportunity to review those. And of course, we do get them peer reviewed. So, yeah, I would say the first study is always, I think, the most enjoyable because it says, okay, yeah, I put 10 years into this and this actually really works. And now we can build a business off it and we can help people.
It's beautiful.
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay, David, I got a question that's going to pertain to, we want to have this as a long-term legacy company for us and our friends and our family. So we have to protect what we say. And, we've got so many incredible testimonies that people are receiving, and they can't wait to tell everyone, and they can't wait to tell their friends. They can't wait to tell it on a Zoom or their social media.
Yeah.
But, we have regulators, and a lot of people don't know that there's regulators that tell us, and I guess they're there for us. The government hires them so that they protect the people that think that they feel might get taken advantage of. Myself, I'd rather let my own decision if I want to be taken advantage of. I'm probably the least educated person out there, so I should be able to have that say so. But the point is that that's what they're out there for, and I hope some people don't know this, but it's good for them to know and learn it. It's your business here. So if you'd like to have the results, think about what can happen with what David is researching even more on. What can happen with his X39, and we're just getting started. But you have to go along with what the rules and the regulators want us to say. So can you kind of tell? You mentioned a little bit, but maybe go a little more in detail what somebody can legally say if they're talking on a social media or they're talking on a platform. I don't think it's such a problem if you're telling your grandma or your mother or your husband, wife, or a friend. Just talking to them in person. But when you're talking on the internet, where it can be recorded and it never goes away, tell us some things that they should be careful of so that we can keep this a long-lasting
Yes, right.
legacy business and company.
Yeah, thank you for bringing this up too, is because you're absolutely correct. People get excited. They get some incredible results, and we're thankful that they do, but they may fall outside what we claim. So when we do our clinical studies, it's to validate that the product works and that it's safe. And then we take those studies and we go to our attorney. So we have an attorney that specializes in FDA and FTC. And then we say, okay, we're in this category of general wellness. What can we say? And so those claims then get approved, and that's what makes it to the website. So any claims that we make about our product that's on the website, that's going to be safe. So the danger then comes from people understandably looking up on the internet, what does copper peptide do? So you can go to a Wikipedia page on GHKCU. You can look at clinical studies from Lauren Picard, who was the discoverer of copper peptide, and you'll find out very quickly it does some extraordinary things that anybody can see. So let's use an example. Let's say we'll take something really controversial like cancer. So copper peptide has been used in studies to support immune activity in animal and human models with different types of cancer. Now, this is on, number one, we don't do any clinical studies on our product, so we have no idea if it would be effective or safe for treating cancer. And then also those studies are done with injections of copper peptide. So that's an exogenous source of copper peptide. And I think the way that we do it is actually better because you're promoting your body to produce its own copper peptide. But there is a difference there. So ethically, unless we do a study proving something, we can't make a claim about it. And then if we did a study, let's say on the use of copper peptide to support immune function, then that's very clearly a medical claim, and as it would be applied to a disease treatment, and we would have to get approval from the FDA, and then it would be regulated as a class 3 drug. And that would be well outside the network, which is something we definitely don't want to do. So the first thing is brand partners can use the claims that are on the website, and they should not be making any claims that are medical in nature, especially on the internet. If it's at home and somebody is excited and sharing that with a friend or family member, from my perspective, there's no harm in doing that.
Okay, so we shouldn't be saying anything like healing a disease.
Definitely not. Definitely not. When we do LifeWave Connect and other webinars, and we do talk about disease treatment, it's always from the perspective of here are natural compounds. Let's say if we talked about COVID, I might bring up, well, people should be taking iodine and NaC and other materials to help protect them from COVID. Funny enough, a natural sweetener in chewing gum, xylitol, just came out this past week from a study, 70% effective at killing the COVID virus. Wow. Wish we had known that back in 2019, right? Wow. But if we talk about any diseases, it's always from the perspective of here's things you can do to support your health. And if you want to use the patches for general wellness, this is how you do it. But we never make a disease claim about the patches. It's always about general wellness.
Great.
Wow. Okay, tell us the difference between stem cell injections and how the X39 works in regard to reactivating your own stem cells.
Massive difference. So when we did our studies at the Regenerative Medicine Institute in Ireland, we were working with what are called MSCs. I often get comments about the way that I pronounce this, mesenchymal stem cells, because that's how they pronounce it in Ireland. So that's how I pronounce it. But the actual pronunciation is different. I'm also from New Jersey, so I have an accent and I'm going to mispronounce everything. So, but MSCs. So what we did was we took people over the age of 60 and we cultured their MSC stem cells. And what you see is very consistent with the literature. There's about a 60 to 80% drop in motility and the ability of those MSCs to release growth factors like VEGF and IGF-1. So this is the problem that we all face, is that the stem cells, which are the universal cells in the body, are aging with the rest of us. So understandably, the path that the pharmaceutical and medical device industry is going is say, well, we will take the stem cells from a young, healthy person and we'll inject them into someone that's older, and that'll be great. Then a person can have younger cells. But it turns out it's not quite that easy. In the first study that was done in Japan, in an attempt to treat Parkinson's disease, stem cells were injected right into the brain of monkeys, and the monkeys died. And when they were opened up, it was found that inside the brain there was muscle tissue, heart tissue, hair, bone. The stem cells differentiated in an uncontrolled fashion. So you can see online today that there's a number of lawyers that actually specialize in this, where someone goes in for a stem cell injection and all of a sudden now they have bone that appears in the corner of their eye and it can't be surgically removed. So some of this is permanent. So it's a very significant challenge in the stem cell community. It hasn't been completely, this problem has not been completely addressed yet. So it's why you don't see the broad use of stem cells today. Now, that said, there are people that do stem cell injections, and the majority of time they're safe. They're not always effective, though. And the other issue is that, let's say you take a chronic injury, like someone has a problem, a torn rotator cuff, they're missing cartilage in their knees. You inject the stem cells, nothing happens. That's very, very common. And now someone spent $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000 for that injection. The reason is that stem cells are attracted to the inflammatory cytokines around the injury site. And that's a good thing, but in a chronic injury, the stem cells are destroyed by that inflammation. So you get the injection, doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Where X39 is different, and also people that use X39 and Eon together with a chronic injury, is that copper peptide is able to manage the inflammatory process. And this is critically important. We need some inflammation in the body because it tears down old or unhealthy tissue. But if the levels are too high, we're achy, we're in pain, and the injury can't heal. So by injecting or using the X39 patch and elevating copper peptide, the advantage is that you manage inflammation, you mobilize the stem cells, you can actually increase the number of the stem cells because they function as something called the Yamanaka factor. So you actually get an increase in the number of circulating stem cells. And it's daily use and convenience. So instead of getting that injection and then a day later the stem cells are gone, now you're using the X39 patch daily, and it's doing its thing day to day. So it's why the X39 actually rivals the efficacy of an injection, but it's much, much safer. Absolutely no chance of a side effect.
Wow. So we got it, QF team. We got to pray, heal, and patch.
Right?
There you go.
So, David, we understand that we don't need FDA approval. Can you elaborate a little bit on the train of thought and how we are in the category considered FDA friendly?
Yeah. So we worked on this for many, many years, looking at different categories within FDA, and it was always a challenge. It was always a challenge to get us into the right category. We're not, by definition, a class 1, 2, or 3 device. And if we got regulated and we were going to make the claims, it would be into class 3, right? So if you wanted to say that you could activate stem cells in disease treatment or healing wounds, you'd clearly be, they would consider you a drug. So in and around 2015, the FDA decided that there were so many general wellness products that were on the market, that instead of them having to go into class 1 and have the FDA spend time doing the review, FDA said to the public, look, if you're a general wellness device, go ahead and market the product, make sure that you have clinical studies, make these claims that's in our document, and you're fine. And if you stray outside that, then we're going to knock on your door. So what's really important here is that we get interviewed by the FDA roughly every 2 years. So they come in, they audit your books, they look at your website, they look at your claims, and then if they have anything to say, they let you know. So we've been through that process. So general wellness is a real blessing from the FDA because it allows us to get our product on the market without going through some long, protracted review process. It allows us to keep the product on the market and market it the way that we do, as long as we abide by the claims that the FDA has established for this category, which are improving energy, improving sleep, managing pain, improving the flow of energy in the body, and so forth.
Wow. Wow. Interesting. So we got a question here for you, and that's like really great information for us to know that, you know, LifeWave is on their game. They're right in the middle of it. They're being checked out. So we're sharing a product that everyone knows they can be comfortable, offering to their friends and loved ones. Thanks for that information, David. Is it possible that the X39 works on most symptoms?
Well, when we say symptoms, are we talking about things like pain, inflammation? That could mean a lot of different things, right? So the human body has, of course, a number of different feedback loops that show up as symptoms, but they're part of the healing process. They're part of the healing process, or they're part of the process that the body uses to manage disease and reestablish balance and homeostasis in the body. So the important thing that we would want to look at is the foundation, which would be on our immune system. Oh, hold on a second here. Bear with me. Okay, I have the pool guy here cleaning the pool. He must have set off the alarm. All good, all good. So that all said, what's really important about X39 and copper peptide is we often talk about that we want people to make sure they're getting enough copper in their diet. And you can get that from liver, or you can get that from chocolate. So it depends on, the person. You can also get it from a diet that's rich in chlorophyll. So people that have a plant-based diet, they can get enough copper in their diet as well. So, and the important part about that is that copper plays an incredibly important role in the immune system. I'll give you an idea how important it is. There was an interesting study that was done on copper peptide, GHK, and infection. And what was found was that when someone got an injury, there would be over a 30%, it was about a 36, 38% chance of getting an infection at that injury site. When there was copper in the body and you elevated copper peptide, that only went down to between 3 and 6%. So it gives you an idea how potent copper is. We talked about this during the pandemic. It was, I think, Sheffield University over in England found that the COVID virus, SARS-CoV-2, was deactivated by copper. And so what they started to look at was replacing the surfaces in their hospital with copper to prevent the transmission of COVID. We don't make any claims about X39, but we did a study at a hospital in upstate New York, and we gave people supplements of copper. We did some other things I can't talk about. But let's just say in the group that got the copper supplement, they didn't get COVID and they didn't develop symptoms. So, this is all to say that I would say copper peptide can do a lot, but I wouldn't depend on it only. I'd want to have a diet that is healthy, take supplements where necessary, exercise, have a healthy lifestyle, de-stress, drink plenty of water, do all of those things to give your body the best chance. And then tools like X39 are phenomenal. It takes your health to another level.
Wow.
Yep.
So quantum field continues to explode. We are super excited. And we are focusing only on X39. When we're able to bring the sales of X39 up to 1 billion annually, is a LifeWave capable of producing enough X39 patches for all of us? We're on a rocket ship, David.
We are.
Well, Gina, that's one of my favorite questions, is because we can already support a company doing over $1 billion a year.
Wow.
So when it was really obvious that we were in momentum and the possibility of becoming $1 billion company was there, we began the process of upgrading our manufacturing facility, and we invested about $3.5 million over a period of 2 years, upgrading to a new system, which is up and running at our facility in Ireland now. So we have manufacturing facilities, about 15,000 square feet in the United States. And then we have about 75,000 square feet of manufacturing in Ireland. And one of the things that we did this past year was we added on another manufacturing line that's over 3 times faster than the equipment that we were using. And we've just now added on a computer visualization system and a robotic system. So in this system, we don't get very many defects, which is when the patches are sealed. You have, let's say, 1 out of 10,000 leaks, and then that's removed from the manufacturing line. So we came up with a way to automate this, where we have a camera that's controlled by a computer that with infrared can see whether or not a patch leaks, and kind of faster than a human being could ever do it. A robotic arm comes down and it removes that patch from the line, and then the patches go off and are automatically put into their sleeves and they're sealed. So we can support a company today doing more than $1 billion a year, and we've added additional space because we expect to do more than that. So at the right trigger point, which is coming shortly, we'll order yet another piece of equipment because it takes about 9 to 12 months to get these things custom made and put in place. But we're in a great position today.
Let's get that order in, because Mark, you'll get there fast.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Fine.
Oh, yeah.
Fine with me. No problem at all.
Hey, we got one last question for you, David. This is kind of great for the people that are building, and I wanted you to help us with the mindset a little bit. I mean, for me to become a world champion, I had to look at what the other world champions were doing, and at whatever they did, I had to say to myself, no matter what, I will learn that trick or I'll never be the world champion. Just like in my psyche and my mind. And Gina, whenever she sees someone could do something, she believes that she can do it if they can do it. And a lot of times people even they get frustrated, or they get maybe out of energy, or they maybe get overwhelmed, or their belief. So you've got a couple of those things that you could maybe help us with your mindset and your psyche of what you've done here, meaning that 10 years of research, $4.5 million, the stamina, like some people get tired in a week. Like here you are after 10 years of research before you even launched it. Now you've launched it for over 3 years. You've got Onyx on here with all her energy.
And she's 3 years. Come on, she's fired up.
8 months. We've only been in 8 months, so we can say, okay, Steve and Gina can still be excited. But you for sure, and then Onyx as well. Can you give us a little bit about maybe encouragement, or how you can help them see a little bit of what you can accomplish, in 10 years, instead of worried about what's happening in the first 30 days?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, when you choose to be an entrepreneur, there's a lot of things that go with that. And, the four of us and many, many of our brand partners on this call have been incredibly blessed because they know the rewards that come with being a successful entrepreneur. The first thing is you get to make a difference in someone's life. And you get to change someone's life for the better in ways that has a ripple effect through all of humanity. And so when you're over the years, I've had the good fortune of meeting many people who've said, you've changed my life. I can do this now. I'm out of pain and I'm going to dedicate my life to helping others or doing what have you. So there's that reward, and it's something that money can't buy. The other thing, of course, is when you become an entrepreneur, you get more time with your family. You get to set the hours that you're going to work. Something comes up with your family. Hey, I'll make up that time on the weekend. I'll make it up at night, whatever it is. And you can't have that with a 9-to-5 job. You get to say when you're going to take vacation, how long it's going to be, and you're still earning money. If you want to take a 3-week vacation where maybe at a regular job you wouldn't get paid for that second or third week, well, now your commissions, of course, because you built up an organization, that money still keeps coming in. There's unlimited earning potential. So when I look at LifeWave from the point of view of being the founder, the type of things I think about is, okay, I have an unbelievably great life. What else can I do with this company to keep giving back and helping others? So I think about that in our product development. What kind of future, do we want to have? And the future is incredible. X39 is an important beginning of our journey, but it's definitely not the end. We are at the beginning of age reversal. And, based on what I see in the lab today, that's going to make it into products that we market in the future, people will be able to do things now that they couldn't dream of before. And they're going to have a quality of life where they thought, well, I'll be 70 or 75 or 80, and that's kind of it. And that's not going to be the way things are in the future. Be very, very dramatically different. So what I would say is to someone that's getting started, it is so worth the amount of time and energy and work that you put into it because the rewards are so high.
I remember when Steve and I actually started this industry, we had 4 kids. We were homeschooling all of them. I worked full-time at Delta Airlines. I was seniority number 4,008 out of 15,000 flight attendants. But let me tell you what, it put a fire under my rear end because I thought, gosh, if those, older flight attendants don't ever retire, I can't ever have a Christmas vacation. Put my vacation on the Christmas week. And also that used to give me the drive. And so it gave me the power to push through to talk to the next person and the next person and the next person. And I know Onyx remembers August 1st of 2008, I gave my resignation to the airlines, and I never, ever, because of this type of industry, had to go back and get a job. I just kept helping and blessing and sharing with the next person and the next person and working down in depth with our team. Amazing.
Yeah, this industry is incredible.
Going back to what David said, what I love about the X39 is the emotion that somebody gets as a person that shared the product. So as we share it with people and they give us their testimony, like you said, the person said their life was changed forever. I mean, that just gets to you in the heart.
Yeah.
And then because of that, we can go on and help people to make life-changing things that happen for them financially. But all those things really add up if you really can see that for yourself. And if you're not having the kind of success that you want right at the beginning, look at how long it took David. Obviously, he might have thought it would take 1 year to bring it to market, then 2 years, then 3 years, 10 years, maybe 11 years to bring the X39 to the marketplace. and 4.5 million, you can come on board for a much less than that.
Yeah.
And take advantage of all those years that he put into play for this, and we're just getting started.
Yep, it's beautiful. So anybody, excuse me, who's brand new on the call tonight, I would like to tell everybody that we have an incredible system here that duplicates and replicates, and it's free for everyone. So if you're brand new, you want to go check out startx39.com so that you can learn more, read more. There's all kinds of videos and information. And whoever invited you into this call is going to be your sponsor. So you want to get back to that person so that they can put you into this amazing business. Or maybe you want to come on as a customer and you want to use this amazing product. Either way is fantastic. You don't want to miss this amazing product and watch your life change and watch the lives of the people around you change when you start sharing.
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
But, you know,
Hey, we're so excited. Thank you so much. We are so grateful for you. We're grateful to Onyx Cole. I mean, I know she's put tons of money in for our system, that anybody who gets in the QF team organization can win, because it's so simple and we're so blessed to be on her team.
So thank you, David, so much for sharing with us. Everyone was blessed today. It was incredible, incredible.
Oh, thank you. Believe me, I'm so appreciative. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for having me. It's really a blessing to be here. Thank you.
and we had more than 1,250 on. And as soon as
Wow.
we're done, you all, this becomes a recording. So everybody can grab it right off of that Onyx Cole network marketing page. And you can start sharing it with your people that weren't able to join us live. No problem at all. What
Well,
an
guys, let's
amazing
take it.
day.
Let's share what we heard today with our loved ones, friends, people you bump into throughout the weekend. Make it a productive weekend going into your week. You know, we're not leaving anyone behind. Monday, already on Monday night, we've got an incredible presentation. Deborah Harnett, she's a senior director.
Yeah.
She is going to rip it up, make it happen at 8 o'clock. And then throughout the week, we got meetings going on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then back again on Saturday. But in the meantime, let's be running for senior director so you can meet personally David. All right, senior directors are going to be at our house April 15th, and it's going to be incredible. So be running for that. And you know, you don't know who you're going to talk to. It's kind of like what I said earlier in the presentation. You don't know who you bump into that decides, and they have a dream. They might even have a dream bigger than you, and that affects your business financially and where it can go for you. So just stay in tuned and engaged, and that will flow off the tip of your tongue, what we just kind of heard today, and the excitement, and the people can see it in your eyes that you're onto something big.
And if you all haven't been to Steve and Gina's house, it is amazing. Like, it's kind of like, who wants to go to Walt Disney World? I'd rather stay here at Steve and Gina's house. And it's beautiful to see because it builds belief, because really network marketing is what was able to create this amazing home. So I'm really excited to spend time. And if you don't know, Gina and I love to have fun. We love to have fun together. We love to throw parties. So we're looking forward to having you all there. And as we always say, this is not an entitlement business. Everyone that is there has earned the right to be there because you all went out, you took a chance, you peeled the back of that patch, the sticker off, and you put it on somebody, a friend, a contact, somebody that you bumped into to change their lives and then change your own life. So David, thank you for coming on April 15th. Thank you for today. It was absolutely fantastic. And thank you everybody that joined. Steve and Gina, you two are amazing. As always, it's a pleasure being in business with you.
Thank you. And, you know, we just have such a passion, and we're thankful for you too, Onyx, thankful for David and LifeWave. And we have a passion, and we are hard workers. And the big problem is we're both competitive. So we work really good together. We don't butt heads. We work really good together as a team, and we're just so fired up to get out there and just I want to see every human being with a patch on, and that's our goal.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks again, David. Everybody have a fantastic rest of your weekend.
Yep.
Yep.
And
Thanks, everybody. Thank
we'll see
you.
you Monday night with the same link and the same passcode for an opportunity meeting. And that is where you bring in your new people at 8 p.m. Eastern time. God bless you guys. Have a fantastic